I was standing on the balcony of my villa, when the call came. My father's voice carried its usual blend of entitlement and rehearsed disappointment. Your Golden Sisters family is moving in. Don't like it? Leave, just like that. 10 years of being the family inconvenience, punctuated only by the privilege of being ignored. I listened in silence, tracing the rim of my wineglass with my thumb. I didn't argue. I didn't plead. I simply whispered, "All right." He thought it was surrender. It wasn't. It was permission. Because by then, the trap was already set. I used to believe my parents couldn't help it, that favoritism was a kind of blindness, not a choice. My sister Kayla, born first, born loud, born demanding, siphoned the oxygen from every room. I grew up learning to be quiet just to hear myself think. When I graduated top of my class, they congratulated her for guiding me. When I bought my first car with my own savings, they scolded me for not letting her choose the colour. And when she married a man whose only real achievement was a well-groomed beard, they acted as if her wedding had personally elevated the family bloodline. By the time I turned 23, I understood the truth. I was the scaffolding. They only noticed me when they needed to climb higher. So I worked, silently, obsessively, until the day I bought a villa overlooking the ocean in Carmel by the Sea, California. My villa, my peace. They never visited. They never congratulated me. They didn't even ask how I'd afforded it. But when Kayla's debts piled up and her husband's startup in Austin unexpectedly collapsed, the daughter they'd ignored suddenly came into sharp focus. My parents claimed they needed only temporary accommodation. Yet the documents I found in my father's briefcase during a forced visit told a different story. They weren't planning to stay in the villa. They were planning to transfer ownership to Kayla without ever telling me. They assumed the deed was still solely in my name. It wasn't. That was the moment the ground shifted beneath me. Not from shock, but from perfect clarity. They didn't see me as a daughter, not even as a person. Just an asset. And assets can be seized unless they're properly protected. I didn't confront them. That's what they expected. Emotion, anger, begging. Instead, I smiled. I served tea. I kept every conversation light and shallow. Then I hired the best estate attorney in Monterey County. I transferred the villa into an irrevocable private trust, airtight, untouchable, under a name none of them would ever recognize. I installed security cameras. I recorded every conversation, every casual insult, every entitled demand, and then I waited. 10 years of being cast aside had taught me patience. They arrived at sunset. 3 SUVs, 2 kids, enough luggage to start a new civilization. Kayla stepped out first, sunglasses on even though the sun had already dipped behind the hills. She didn't greet me. She looked straight past me at the house and smiled like a queen inspecting her new palace. My mother brushed by with that familiar, dismissive pat on my arm. "Oh, you'll need to clear your things out of the master bedroom," she said. Kayla needs the space. I simply nodded. Every word I spoke that evening was a match dropped onto dry kindling. They thought the fire was meant to warm them. They never noticed the gasoline, acetylene. The next morning, they gathered in the living room, complaining about the air conditioning, the guest towels, the inferior tea I'd served. I placed a leather folder on the coffee table and sat across from them. Calm, steady. "What's this?" Kayla asked, already impatient. "Just something you should all see." They opened it. One by one, their expressions shifted from boredom to confusion to disbelief to the faintest flicker of fear. It was the trust agreement, the updated title records, the time-stamped deed transfer, everything notarized and filed. "This villa isn't in my name anymore," I said quiet, "and it is certainly not available for gifting." My father slammed the folder shut. "You can't do this." "I already did." My mother's voice trembled. "Where are we supposed to stay?" I shrugged. "You told me last night this place was yours now. I assumed you had a plan." Kayla stood so fast her chair scraped the tile. "Are you throwing us out?" "No," I said, leaning forward slightly. "I'm reminding you that you were never invited in." Their shock felt like the first clean breath I'd taken in years. They were gone within the hour. No dramatic speeches, no apologies. Just the sharp slam of car doors like final punctuation marks in a story that had finally reached its last sentence. That night, alone again, I walked back out to the balcony. The Pacific was calm, mirroring the stillness inside me. Revenge wasn't fire. It was precision. It was silence sharpened into a blade. It was letting people walk straight into the consequences they had built with their own hands. I didn't win by fighting them. I won by stepping out of the role they had written for me. And now this villa isn't just a home. It's a monument. A permanent reminder that being cast aside only hurts until you realize you were never meant to stand beside people who can't see your worth. Sometimes the sweetest revenge is simply owning, in every sense of the word, the life they tried to steal.